able to deliver quality software in tiny pieces. That's it. That's the whole secret. Because remember I said there was a ton, literal paper ton of requirements that got tossed over the wall, and then the software got tossed back a year and a half later? Well, the secret to be able to deliver software more quickly, more effectively, more efficiently is just giving him this much at any one time. Because, go ahead, yes?
Could this, in theory, interplay with the Unix design philosophy, where you do one thing and one thing well?
It could. It could have some relationship there. Because we want to make sure that that one thing that we're working on together as a team is meeting the needs of what we want. And if we're going to give it to you just a couple weeks later, you'll say, oh yeah, this is exactly what I asked for, or no, that isn't quite it, but if you tweak this, this is what we need. It's instant feedback. So that's why Agile frameworks, because remember, we said Agile was what? Mindset. Thank you so much. I was going to cry if nobody shouted out that answer. Okay, but Scrum is a framework or a how to do. Okay, other words I want you to be familiar with are iterative and incremental. What? Okay, iterative. Okay, everybody knows what that is. Okay, we're doing a small thing and we're doing it again and we're doing it again. What makes it incremental is at first we're building a small thing, and then we're going to build on top of that small thing, and then we're going to build on top of that slightly larger thing, so that we are incrementing our software product incrementally, a little at a time. The advantage to that is higher quality, because if you're building in quality from the start, you're really only adding in one little piece, so it's easier for you to maintain the quality. You're being more responsive to what your business partner has asked for. Iterative and incremental. So I had told you that back in 2001, 17 developers got together and came up with the Agile Manifesto. It's not a secret. You can go out there to the internet and read it anytime you want, and I highly recommend it. Because if you are a developer, if you're involved in software at all, go out there and read it. It may take you 10 minutes, but it's going to take you a much longer time to actually apply. And I'm not going to read this to you because you know how to read. You don't need me to do that. I'm going to go right to the principle. There are 12 principles behind the Agile Manifesto, and I'm only going to cover some of them. I'm going to cover the first one, and this is where logic plays into it, that the highest priority is to satisfy the customer through early, not a year and a half, and continuously incremental valuable software, okay? And the reason we do that is ROI. Everybody remember the business class return on investment? Very good. Here, at the end of the night, I'll give you this pen.
I'll give you one of my branded pens.
Okay, even better. So, because when you're coding for a company or for a business or an organization, they're asking you to code something for a reason. And they're investing in you to make that code. So they need a return on their investment. So ROI is, we're paying you because what you're going to do is going to help us make money. So it's logical. The first priority has to be for our ROI. The second one is welcome changing requirements. You know, what did I say earlier? Why do we not want to do things the old way? Because by the time we actually delivered the system, it was already out of date. Things change. Things never stay the same. So we are able to welcome changing requirements because remember, out of that entire system that they wanted, we only gave them this much. We haven't spent years writing requirements, doing the development. We only did this much of them. So if they want to make a change, and they should make a change about what's going to come next, that's okay. We haven't invested a lot. We haven't wasted our money. Business people and developers must work together daily. Oh, what a concept. Remember I said that they would write requirements for a long time and throw them over the wall? No, that's not helpful, because you're thinking that somebody else can read your mind and understand what you meant when you wrote something. And last month, Leslie did a wonderful presentation for us on specifications by example, because what that allowed, as he was explaining last month, what it allows us to do is to really get down to the concrete of this is what I want for this particular situation, and then this is how we should respond. So that specification by example, or BDD, is another acronym for it, that allows us to get something done.
That talk is on YouTube.
Oh, awesome, even better. Even better, if you missed it last month, go back and watch it. It's very helpful.
So behavior-driven design is technically part of Scrum then?
No,
It's not.
it's not. You can apply, there's also TDD, so there are many other ways of developing.
I usually do a mixture of behavior-driven and test-driven for my personal projects.
Perfect.
I personally, I'm not against the principle of Scrum.
Right.
It's just the team building exercise was literally just torture for me. But I like how behavior-driven design is very explicit.
Yes.
And test-driven, I know what the results should be, and if the results and the behavior aren't like, if I know what the behavior should be, I can then infer what the test should be, and then once I have the behavior should be and the test should be, then it's actually easy to implement functionality, because you've it's got waveform collapse. The more you know, the lower the entropy. So this is just collapses the waveform.
Awesome, thank you for adding that. All right, the advantage to doing something and showing it to your stakeholders, your business partners, is that they can give you immediate feedback. Oh no, that's not really what I wanted. What I meant was I wanted something else. You didn't spend a year and a half developing that system. You spent 2 weeks. So if they screwed up, that's okay. We can live with it. Or even better is when they look at it and say, "Oh my God, I forgot. Please quickly write another story, and in the very next chance you get to do your coding, add this, and then that'll make that piece fit in better." So fast feedback, we have to know immediately. And that's absolutely true with everything we do in life. It's one of those concepts that apply everywhere. Let's see. Oh, this is a science one. And this is probably one that you hate. The best way to convey information is face to face.
No, text.
No, because it leaves too much open. And I mean, and there's science behind this. I'm not, now I make a lot of things up, okay? But this is not one of them. There's actual science about the effectiveness of actually sitting down with someone and having a conversation. There's the fast feedback. There's, if they make a like look on their face like this, it's like, you know, that's feedback. You know there's something they're not understanding. So it helps build trust. You got a question?
Well, I have something to add to that. I think,
Please do.
like, I'm a very advocate of, like, if I don't need to be in the office to do a job, then why should I have to be there, requirement-wise? But in that scenario, what you're saying is, if the communication was already delivered and concise, and they knew exactly what they wanted, we come together, we meet, we talk about it, we exchange that formal feedback, I would have 1,000% behind that. But the problem is, they don't have that. So we're constantly face to face for no reason, which is causing more conflict than actual, completing.
There are plenty of psychological studies and neuroscience studies. My sister is a neuroscientist. Your memory only is about 50% accurate within 6 months at best.
Right.
If the project takes, and usually the more complicated information, the shorter the half-life of your memory. So I want everything in text because I know human memory is extremely fallible. When you're dealing with software, it is extremely complicated by nature. So
That's why we have stories.
But that's exactly, thank you, Pablo. That's exactly where I was going to go with it. Because when I sit down and have the face-to-face conversation with you, we're making what we call user stories, or for Leslie's sake, we'll put them into specifications by examples. So we have that track that you can go back to, but it's the immediate repartee that we use to develop that software that gives us, and this is science, it gives us better clarity and understanding. It helps us build trust and rapport.
I don't trust anyone, sorry.
Yeah.
No, but it's real. 'Cause like, for example-
It is real.
For example, what Michael was saying, so I work remotely, I'm a slave of Zoom. And, I learned that users didn't want to wait more than 3 seconds for this application to load. And the way I knew this was very important, aside from their tone, is that they rolled their eyes. They're like, I don't want to wait more than 3 seconds. So if they have written that, there's no way. What are you going to do? Add an eye roll emoji? It doesn't convey the message. So it is important to see the person, even if it's in a recorded form. At least see the person who's talking about the story.
Right, it's the immediate feedback. It gives you enhanced collaboration and creativity. So even when I was a developer, if I was sitting there working with someone else and they said, oh, but wait a minute, if we do this, it'll work better. It's the synergy of two intelligent people that can come up with a sum, greater than, a result greater than the sum of the two people. So there's so much to be gained by having that synergy of people working together. A cultural understanding, a conflict resolution. It makes it so much easier to have a conversation with someone when there's a level of discomfort if you're sitting there right with them. And what points to this is how much about the internet with the trolls. Would people be that nasty and ugly in person? Chances are they would not when they have an opportunity to sit down and work with someone face to face. There's science behind why it's important for us to have that face-to-face communication. Science, another one. All right. Those of you who are developers, how many of you have pulled all-nighters to get something done? Yeah.
Only a night?
Yeah.
I've been up for a week straight once.
Oh, okay.
I was bored. I was just programming. I had a good time.
Okay, so we're humans. Like it or not, we are all human, okay? Our bodies have limitations. We are actually much more productive if we get a good night's sleep. So as a developer, did I do all-nighters? Yes, I did. And how effective do you really think you are after being sleep deprived? You're not.
Not effective at all. That was just a personal project. That's why I didn't care. So I just, for work projects, I always just get a minimum 8 hours of sleep, usually about 10. I'm an afternoon person. I'm just more awake in the afternoon.
Right.
So I'll get up around 10 o'clock, take Lily Boo for the walk.
TMI.
My dog.
No,
The dog for the walk.
TMI.
I got a routine, a written one.
So so the idea is when you are plotting out your work carefully, you can have a sustainable pace so that you're not killing yourselves to meet a deadline. All right? Basic science behind that as well. You can't scale crappy code.
True.
So,
That is,
You can.
all right.
it's not cost effective.
Hey,
I'm a very big Amazon.
If you're going to put garbage on top of garbage, it's not going to all of a sudden be great. It's going to be garbage.
I have a blog post you should read about when I worked at a startup. The intern wrote a recursive function on Azure Cloud.
Okay.
Dun, dun, dun. I don't get the punchline, but okay. But again, like, I think I disagree with some of that premise. Crappy code is very scalable. It's just not maintainable.
It's not
It
maintainable.
will scale. You will not be able to maintain it. It's like
Well,
creating
and that's important.
scaffolding
Right.
out of cake.
That's important. So quality. So when you are developing only this much at a time, you can ensure that you have good quality, and then you add a piece of code to it and you make sure that's thoroughly tested. All right? You're better quality by delivering things in an agile manner.
I only have two major gripes with Agile. Everything else I agree with.
Okay, and then the last one I want to talk about is something called the retrospective, all right? Oh, I got a laugh back there. Okay, all right.
Not me. I didn't do it.
Well, we can schedule them because some days we had to okay, we don't have enough people here, we have to skip it.
So that's the problem is not with the retrospective. The problem is with people's taking it seriously.
Yeah.
Because this gives you the opportunity to review what you have done and how you have done it to make continuous improvement. I could always get better as a developer. I can get better as an agile coach. I can get better as a speaker. And if people are willing to give me honest, open, constructive feedback, I can continue to grow. And seriously, don't you all just want to get better at whatever it is you're doing?
Yes, but not
except
everyone
you?
gives, no. But not everyone experience gives useful feedback.
Well, and you're absolutely right, which is why I specified constructive feedback. All right, we already talked about Scrum. It's a framework. I told you where the term Scrum came from. Two things. All right, we started to talk about retrospectives. So let's start with Pablo. Thank you. Okay. Let's start with the sprint review. At the end of every little piece that you're delivering, you should review it with the people who are receiving the work, the customers, and because you want to demonstrate what it is you're doing. The second thing you want to do as part of that is allow them to take that into consideration while they determine what should come next. Remember, we said we're delivering only that much of it. And we still have that long laundry list of the other things we haven't quite looked at yet, just this piece. And we talked about, oh no, I see what you've done, but now I see I need another piece. So it helps to inform them about what should come next. And we already talked about the retrospective. Bailey, yes?
Okay. Actually, I know this is weird because Scrum is designed for teams. I do all this on my own personal projects. Like when I do a retrospective, I keep a developer log of each project. I usually have a change log, even on minor stuff, and it's not just a scrape of the git commits. I'll actually add context to each thing.
This is actually something you can do. Because remember, you need a stakeholder or someone that you're producing something for, and the developer, right? Two people is the minimum. Could you do it for yourself? Sure, I guess.
I do it. That's what I'm saying. I do it for myself.
Exactly, but you can have the team doesn't need to be.
The team doesn't need, there actually is an ideal size for a team, but one person is not a team. And if you're developing software, if you're doing it for yourself, awesome, and you're doing a retrospective and review for yourself, awesome. But if you are developing for other people, those other people need to be involved. All right, Scrum Guide. I actually have links on the end of this because the Scrum Guide is going to take you longer. It's going to take you 20 minutes to read. Okay. If you're a developer and all you've heard about is Scrum and people have been describing it to you, go out there and read it for yourself. Kanban. Okay, Kanban is another popular framework for applying Agile principles. Kanban is a Japanese word. It means visual signboard. And this is about keeping the work moving. Okay, again, we're focusing on one thing because you may think that you're the most awesome person to multitask, but you're not. Get over it. Get real.
Oh, I was going to add some scientific feedback to that. My sister is a neuroscientist. I already mentioned that, but one of her most, before she became a real estate agent, her most recent paper was on no one can effectively multitask. It is proven. Everyone is crap at this.
Yes, which is why we should focus on one thing at a time. And if we have a visual signboard where we can see what everybody is working on, we can track the work, they can track their own work as they move it across the board. And then everybody is clear about what's going on. It's a big information radiator. That's why, because we're not very good at multitasking, focus on one thing at a time, and we improve collaboratively. So when I was running Kanban teams, we didn't have a formal retrospective because people were coming in every day and saying, hey, I thought about this last night when they were sleeping because sustainable pace, and can we try doing it this way? So it was much more organic when I was running Kanban teams. I will give you, have links to one of the, probably the most popular practitioner, David Anderson of Kanban.
For a real example, we use the Kanban board on the stuff that we do for the group.
Perfect.
The issue tracker
Perfect.
on GitHub is a Kanban board.
Yeah.
So is Trello. I run my business off of Trello.
Awesome.
Basically, my team is, it's not a team, it's a membership business. You subscribe to my membership, I build your software, one issue at a time, unlimited to-dos, just one at a time. And I'm just very explicit. The reason I personally just hate interviews. So I just try to keep them as very direct and explicit as possible. The reason why I prefer text, it is easier to be hyper explicit with text.
Yes, but you miss out on all the importance of having a face-to-face in conversation with the person. So those underlying principles of Agile and its frameworks are based on science and logic. All right, they are the most effective and efficient ways for creating software. Do I have any questions besides you?
I have a question.
Okay.
It's kind of like, I don't want to throw you a curveball, but as an Agile coach, this is a problem that I face frequently. We have an Agile process at work. I call it fragile.
I've heard that before.
It's not really Agile at all. And so we have 2-week sprints, basically 2 weeks to do an agreed upon amount of work. And we have stories. But QA is not part of the size of the story of the amount of work.
Bad.
I know.
Bad.
And then towards the end of those 2 weeks, the poor QA staff gets flooded with work.
Right.
It's not very agile. Suddenly,
Right.
you know,
Because they're supposed to be a member of your team.
exactly.
And when you lay out what you're going to do, again, because human beings, they not only can't work effectively if they're working 24 hours a day, they also can't plan very well. If you ask humans to plan for a 2-week period, they're probably going to do a good job at it. If you ask them to plan for a year and a half, oh, I mean, it is so awful. So if
How
you
do you shift slowly the culture?
because you have them as members of your team. So that way, when you are laying out your 2 weeks, you say, okay, I can do that story and I can have it ready in 2 days. And that goes to that tester in 2 days. Somebody else says, well, it's going to take me 4 days to do mine. So you're giving, at that 2-week period, you're giving the tester time to plan for, I'm going to get this one in 2 days, I'm going to get that one in 4 days. So yes, but that has to be part of the plan. It has to be part of your estimate.
It should be, and I know I'm getting too low level, but should it be part of the same story, or should it be a follow-up story?
No, Every story should contain what it's going to take to create that piece of software. And testing is part of creation of that software. Yes.
Entirely self-contained.
Yes.
I love that.
Yes. What? Are you feeling all right? Hang on, we may have an emergency here. Damn!
I told you. Okay.
All right, so.
Okay, higher chance of failure is all I'm gonna say.
All right, there are many places to go out there, and I encourage you, actually read these things yourself. Don't take my word for it. Don't take who's ever coming in and talking to you about it. Go out there and read it for yourself. This is good stuff. It really does make a difference. So thank you very much.